Hello, Jessica and Stephanie. How are you doing?
Hi,
Great.
Eva. I have a daughter named Eva.
Really?
I
Okay,
do.
I hate to break your heart. It's
Is it
pronounced
Ava?
Ava. It is.
Okay,
Oh,
so here's the thing. I really wanted to name my daughter Ava, but spell it EVA. But I didn't want her to have to like correct the substitute teachers her entire life. So
Yes,
we
and
went with
is that
the
what you
Eva
had to do?
pronunciation.
that's
But
amazing.
I love Ava.
Oh,
So
thank you. See, I was too shy to ever correct substitute teachers. I'm not shy anymore. So I respond to both this point, but
that's
yes,
awesome.
I guess it's the Swedish spelling, but pronounced Ava. So,
Yeah,
It's such a pretty name.
oh,
yeah.
thank you so much. Thank you. Well, first off, I want to congratulate you on winning Baking It.
Thank
So
you.
cool.
Yeah.
I wanted to just kind of jump right in. I know that Making It is more of an individual like contestant show, so I'm wondering why you think Baking It specifically lends itself well to pairs, because I loved that format.
I did too. I think it's like a lot about the teams and the relationship between them, and there were so many unique, awesome combinations. Siblings, father and son, best friends, spouses. So, um, I think it just gives another fun dynamic.
Hmm. For
And
sure.
I think since it was so holiday focused, like nobody celebrates the holidays by themselves, or hopefully they don't. Hopefully they have people. Everyone has someone in their life to like celebrate the holidays with. So, like I definitely appreciated having a partner for a baking challenge, but I think that would be helpful in a making challenge as well. A crafting challenge would be infinitely easier with two pairs of hands.
Hmm.
But I do think having teams lend itself really well to it being a holiday show so that you can talk about the way you celebrate together.
For sure. And I love how in the very first episode they asked each team what holidays they celebrate and how they celebrate. I thought that was very, very special. And which team did you grow closest with?
I mean, all of them really, but I think the longer you spend time with people, the closer you get.
Of course.
So, I mean, I think we probably grew to be the closest with Steve and Tom and Yadi and Abby because we were together the longest. But really, I mean, I just love every single baker on the show so much. I mean, I was crying when Caesar and Reggie went home, which I always thought that was like people were putting it on or maybe like
Oh,
encouraged to
scripted, yeah.
get emotion. Like I didn't know. I'd never
I
been on
know.
television before, but like I
I cried
literally was.
very sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I was just crushed to see them go because in that short amount of time that we got to know them, we just came to love them so much.
Yeah, I cried very real tears day one when Reggie and Caesar went home, and the very real tears continued for each pair. Seriously, we
Oh,
honestly got very close to all those people, and it's a really special bond because you're in such a unique experience, and it's awesome because we all still talk near almost daily.
Yeah,
oh, I love when competition shows when that's the outcome. I
yeah.
always ask, like, I'll interview someone from American Idol, The Voice. I always like to ask, do you still keep in touch? So I'm glad that Baking It is no exception. And I don't know if you're allowed to disclose this. If you're not, just tell me you're not. But I'm wondering, like, the timeline, because the way this show is set up, it seems like you're under not only the pressure of a show and being judged, but also a time crunch. So how did you navigate that?
Like a time crunch in terms of the bakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the bakes were timed. I do feel like the show did a good job of being reasonable with the time limits. I do know
Mhm.
that like some baking shows, they say things like make a tart in an hour and it's like tart dough needs to rest for an hour and then roll out and then rest for another hour. So really you're not saying like make the best tart you can make, you're saying make the best tart you can make in a third of the time that you should take to make a tart. So I do think that they were pretty realistic about um, giving us reasonable time limits for the kinds of bakes that they were asking us to do. But if you made any mistakes, which we did on literally every bake, which the editors were kind enough to not put all of those mistakes in, you definitely felt the time crunch. Like we were down to the wire almost every single bake.
But yeah, absolutely. Just to echo that, I've never done anything timed in the kitchen before in a competition setting. So that was the biggest, like, what? And I guess I realized about myself, I don't do anything that quickly. So that was kind of a shocker for me, but it was, yeah, they did a great job at making it a really relaxed and fun environment as much as you can in that situation where there's a million cameras in your face.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of
And
course.
I think you just try to like Tetris all the tasks. So like if something needs to cool, you do it first so it's cooling, and like make sure that you're not using the same equipment at the same time, and just kind of like have to kind of think through logistically like what's the order that makes the most sense for this bake.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
that's
very-
what's nice about having two partners.
Yeah. No, it's very strategic. Would you say that you learned, I mean, I'm sure you did, but what is something you learned like on the show, whether it be time management or, working under pressure, anything like that, that you're bringing now into your bakeries or maybe training your employees to do?
I think I learned I was not as good at multitasking as I thought I was. I thought it would be no big deal to be asked questions in the middle of baking because I've got all these kids. I've got 6 kids, and they're always coming in and asking me for stuff. And I'm always like baking or cooking at home under a time crunch, or even at work. Like, I'm always rushing to take a kid somewhere or get something done. But it was a lot more difficult in an unfamiliar setting with people I wasn't used to. So, I mean, I think like here at the shop, we make sure that everything gets put back in the same place every time so that you can find it every time. Because that was like one of the biggest struggles for me, was just getting used to that kitchen space. Unplug my doorbell so that doesn't keep interrupting.
It was very faint.
Yeah, I couldn't hear it. But I would say this.
It's out now.
Oh.
But I think it is important to like keep your mise en place, like make sure you have all your ingredients and equipment organized, and that you have everything out ready to go when you're ready to do a task, so that you don't get partway into something and then go, oh shoot, where's the whatever. Or it was difficult because we had these fully stocked stations, but like we would have like 3 spatulas, whereas like at home or work I might have, like at work I probably have 20, right? Yeah. So you get through, into a task, and you go to reach for another tasting spoon or another spatula, and
you don't have a sink at your station.
Right.
That's right.
So I think just having all your equipment set out, knowing that you have everything that you need, makes things go a lot more smoothly.
Yes, and that's something I need to learn. And I'm not even a baker. But when I bake, oh my gosh, I don't know why, but I do things on like 2 sides of the counter. I don't know why. So I'm making this process take way too long. But that's my struggle with baking, I guess. But I did want to ask too, you're both obviously very established bakers, very experienced, very knowledgeable. What is a mistake you see aspiring bakers make? Whether it could be as simple as using too much butter, or not necessarily a mistake, but something you think that every new baker should unlearn, I guess.
I think that something a lot of people that don't bake don't realize is baking is very different from cooking. Cooking, you can kind of wing it. You can, season to taste or cook to taste. You can kind of get really inventive and creative. Whereas with baking, there's a lot of science and chemistry involved. And so I think if you approach baking the way you approach cooking, you may run into trouble. Like, you need to read the recipe. If it says that you need room temperature ingredients, if they're not room temperature, you're going to get a different result. If you don't measure properly, most American recipes are written in volume, which is a really inaccurate way to measure things. You scoop a cup of flour, you can end up with like 1.5 times as much as if you were to weigh it by weight if the recipe has weight. So it's really important to like understand your recipe, understand what the recipe writer was saying. And then I think the other mistake is that people think that if they do something wrong, like it's over. Like my sweet son, my 12-year-old decided Saturday night he wanted to make donuts for Sunday. So he like started the process and then didn't realize that he was supposed to reduce this apple cider first. So he had his yeast and his flour mixed together, and he was just like, it's over now, it's ruined. And I was like, well, let's wait and see, right? And then he was up so late prepping the dough. It was supposed to rise for an hour and then go into the fridge, and he fell asleep and it over rose for 3 hours. Now that's not like ideal. You don't want to do that. But I think a lot of people would be like, well, throw it in the bin. It's just over. But I think if you push through those mistakes, that's when you learn like what's recoverable, what's not. Even if the donuts didn't turn out, you would at least be able to taste what does a like over risen yeasted donut taste like. So I know what the result is going to be or how to avoid that in the future. So I think it's like you need to be precise, like approach it with precision, but then like if things go awry, like what can I learn from it? Is there a way to fix this? What can I do to kind of like bring it back?
I love that. I went to Italy once, and that is where I learned what you said about cooking versus baking. When we were making gnocchi and then we were making chocolate cake, and it's very different. So yeah, I'm glad. Thank you for bringing that up. I really appreciate that. Stephanie, do you have anything to add? Any mistakes you see young bakers make?
Yeah, I think I'm the queen of like forgetting an ingredient in the middle of a recipe and being like, oh no, I don't even have it at my house. I have to run to the store. So I think laying everything out, really like reading the recipe or 2 or 3. There's a great cookbook that Jessica actually told me about called Everyone Can Bake. So I recommend that to people starting out because it gives you a lot of like bases for cakes or bases for tarts, or you start with like one thing you're interested in and then you can add, you know, different fillings and different elements of the bake. And so I think kind of understanding each component separately so you can get creative later is really helpful. And then yeah, I just agree with like the multitasking aspect of it all in a commercial, or not a commercial kitchen, but a competition kitchen where you kind of just lose your mind and it's going 1,000 different directions. And yeah, it was funny because one of the producers was like, you're the only moms in this competition. Do you feel like you have a leg up because you're so used to multitasking? And on day 1, we were like, oh, totally. Yeah, we're both used to like little hands in our mixing bowls all the time and like answering all the questions of like, why?
Oh.
Why? But yeah, that kind of humbled me and left me at day 2 because I was like, also, I don't know if I'm as good as a multitasker as I thought either.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And I have to ask, what do you plan on doing with the winnings?
We want to try to go on a trip, both of our families together. So hopefully we'll get to do that. And then I have a senior in high school, and so I may take her on a little trip too. Her and I. She loves art, so if we can swing it, we're gonna try to go to Italy.
Oh my goodness. I'm so jealous. I was just talking about Italy, wasn't I?
Yeah.
I love Italy. I studied Italian in college, so it has my heart.
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous. It's unreal. And the desserts there, of course, are phenomenal. That's one of the things I remember the most.
Sure.
So good. And I gotta ask too, how was it meeting Maya and Andy? Any fun moments that didn't make it to the show? Any fun interactions you want to share?
Our favorite one did make it to the show.
Oh,
when he said we were making our double-decker cream puffs and the bottom was Santa's suit and the top was Santa's head. So we said something like, this is Santa's head and these are the Santa bodies. And he goes, Santa bodies? That's what I got after my COVID vaccine. And did a full victory lap around the cabin, and it was amazing. But they're just so warm and inviting and like comforting at your station. You just feel like your old friends chatting. I know I was super nervous at the beginning and starstruck. Like, I love you both so much. I love you so much. But yeah, they were amazing, just kind and genuine, and the most like I've never been around that many genuinely hilarious people in my life in the same room.
Even with Jessica and her 6 kids.
Oh, she's
We're
hilarious.
funny in a different way.
Sorry, I was trying to start like a sibling fight on camera, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that.
It's
only
not
because
gonna work.
No, I have a twin brother, so we don't fight
Oh.
anymore, but we used to fight, and I would low key love when people would try to get it out of us. I don't know why, it was just entertaining.
They
Um,
fight like, you're so cool. No, you're so cool.
Cooler.
Oh, you
We
just
fight
one
in
up
the way
each
that
other
makes
with
people want to
compliments.
throw up.
No, that's so sweet.
Someone described the show as sickeningly wholesome the other day, and I was like, yeah, that's our style. That's our vibe.
Yeah, that's your brand.
That's on brand for us.
Yeah.
On brand.
One other thing I did want to ask, not really related to the show, but more related to, I guess, the baking industry, the dessert industry, confectionery industry. I'm wondering if you were able to, kind of survive through the pandemic, and if you have any advice for other like family-owned local bakeries that might be struggling, because I'm in San Diego and I know a few that have gone under, and it breaks my heart because I love the small bakeries. I love them.
So we're a chocolate shop, not a bakery. We actually opened last December, so right in the height of COVID.
Okay.
And I think that people at the time were really looking for something to kind of like self-care.
Mhm.
And we did great. Like, we've been so embraced by our community, and people are so excited to have us in the area and so supportive that we really navigated COVID fine. We just have had to be really careful about
Of course.
precautions, because like if I go down, we all go down. Like,
Yeah.
I have a production assistant now, but up until October, I made pretty much everything in the shop, and I still probably make like 85% of the stuff in the shop. So we've been really cautious and careful, but we've also been lucky that we already had planned to do e-commerce. We already had a website set up so that we could ship. We do a lot of like order online, pick up in store. We can, I mean, I just had someone call last week. She was like, I asked my sister to come get chocolates because I have COVID and I can't go out, but she has to leave to go home. So if I call, can you bring it out to my car? And I'm like, yes, absolutely. We do that all the time. You've got a sleeping toddler, we'll bring it out to the car. So, we tried to be as creative as we can, but we've actually come through it pretty well. We've been really lucky.
That makes me very happy. Very, very happy. Do you have anything to add, Stephanie?
Well, I don't have a bakery. I do have a photography business. So during the pandemic, like, I shoot a lot of weddings, and a lot of those were canceled or postponed or whatnot. So that was definitely a challenge to any small business. But got through it, pivoted. I think that's kind of the message that we've all been, dealing with and having to pivot. But I shoot a lot more commercial work now because of it, and that really fuels me as well. So, but I've just been so impressed by Jessica's business and everything she's created during such a challenging time too, and they've just really thrived at Bliss. So I'm just a proud sister.
Yes, and I
And
love
wish I
when
looked closer, obviously.
I know you hadn't been together, I think, in 8 years, like for that amount of time. Is that what they said on
Well,
the show?
we haven't lived near each other in probably like 20 years. We see each other every now and then, but it had been a while since we had seen each other. She during the audition process, she surprised me, and I came home from work one day, the day before we were supposed to do like record an audition for the show, and she was going to do it in Portland and I was going to do it in Kansas City. And I walked into my pantry and she was hiding in there with her baby.
Popped out of her pantry.
That's amazing. What better place there's not a better place to hide for a baby.
Right. So we're
Well,
like,
that was
even
one of the things they wanted to see for our audition was your pantry. Give us a tour of your pantry. So her husband Alan helped me, and he was like on Find Friends, like, okay, she's
Oh.
driving home from the grocery store. Let's get you in the pantry. So it was like a very elaborate plan.
Yeah. Team effort for sure. Oh, that's so great. I don't know. I don't have enough like good things to say about you both. And I'm like craving chocolate so deeply right now.
I can definitely help you
And
with that.
And it's 9:30 right now. But you know what? Let's be real. I crave chocolate all hours of the day.
Same.
People ask me all the time if I get tired of eating chocolate. I'm like, it's literally my job and I look forward to it every day. Like,
Of course. No,
I have to eat it every day. And
You
I
have
don't
to.
mind a bit.
most people can't say they have to, unfortunately. Well, thank you both so much for your time and making time on this Tuesday morning to speak with me. If you just want to shout out your social media, I know Stephanie, you also have one for photography, but yeah, anything you want to plug, websites, you're more than welcome to.
So my company is Bliss Chocolatier. You can find us on the web at www.blisschocolatier.com. You can order and ship anywhere in the 48 contiguous United States. And then you can find us on Instagram at bliss.chocolatier. And we're also on Facebook as well.
Perfect. I'm ordering right after this. I'm not joking. I'm so excited.
Yay. They have a lot of good Christmas specials.
Yay. Good.
Okay. The easiest way to find me is on Instagram at Stephanie Jarstad. And my personal account is at Stephanie Moikeha.
Perfect.
Moikeha.
Yeah, I see it on your Zoom username, and I'm like, okay, so that's how you pronounce that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Everyone watching, please go give Jessica and Stephanie a follow. If you're in Kansas City or nearby, please go visit Bliss Chocolatier because I can't and I'm really sad. So, but I'm happy to do an online order. I'm glad that you ship to California. So, and to all the other states besides Alaska and Hawaii, which sorry, Alaska and Hawaii. Maybe one day. But yeah, thank you both so much for your time. And again, huge congratulations on winning the show and best of luck. And I'm sure you'll be super, super successful. Continue to be super, super successful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you. Have a great day. Happy baking, Jessica.
Thank you. Just gotta get through the next 2 weeks.
Oh yeah. It's crazy in every industry. I feel you. So all right. Well, thank you. Have a good one.
Bye.
Thank you, Ava.
Bye, Ava.
Sorry, Ava.
It's okay. Like I said, I respond to both.
Thanks again. Bye.